Early Years Term 1 Teaching Tips. Welcome to the new school year. I sincerely hope you've had a great break. Now this is a hectic time of the year, and because of this short video aims to support your implementation early in the school year. I'd like to take this opportunity to direct you to the Getting Started section of the website. In one centralised location, you will find everything that you require to get started, but also to implement PLD within the early years. But within that page, it starts off initially with your downloadable manuals. Scroll down a little further, and then you find your professional development options. Scroll down to the third section and you will find your programs that you require to implement PLD in the early years. And finally, towards the bottom of the page is information on tracking and how you report on student progress. In order to implement PLD very well in your room, you will need access to programs, access to training, and access to the information on the screening and tracking process. For the remainder of the video, I'd like to clarify what is Term 1 teaching and Term 1 screening. In terms of screening, there's no pre-screening to start the year. Mid-term, there will be screening, a 1-minute sub-test to present to your students, but for now, you can put aside your screening and tracking manual because you can settle your students in, and importantly, you need to commence that focused, repetitive, explicit, short, sharp and snappy teaching from the outset in the school year. So let's turn to what is that teaching. So in addition to your early childhood theory, you want to add to that short, targeted, explicit teaching, ideally from week 1 in the school year, so that while you're building your relationships and building your routines, you're also engaged in that targeted teaching from the outset. Why? Well, you'll be screening in week 6 on the key skills, so best you start straight away. Page 4 in the teaching sequence manual outlines key Term 1 skills. Note this will not encompass your whole literacy block, but these are key PLD aspects to be added into your literacy block. Within Term 1, there are pre-writing patterns to engage in and develop the skills there. Also from Term 1, students speaking in a sentence, but also dividing those sentences into words while stepping through hoops. My name is Thomas, out the door. My name is Bethany, out the door. Or I am 4 years old, out the door. In terms of your pre-literacy program, Term 1 involves a focus on phonological awareness, but also vocabulary. Blending and segmenting syllable units is of prime focus within Term 1. The vocabulary and syllable units that you'll be focusing on using vocabulary and syllable time set 1 will be fruit, Australian animals, clothing, food, shapes and colours, and within that second flip book, zoo animals, insects, vocabulary, salad and vegetables, and sea creatures. A very quick demonstration. First of all, blending, then moving into segmentation. It's a scripted program. So, can you guess this picture? It's a picture of a mosquito. Mosquito. Push those sounds together and see if you can guess what's the picture of it. It's a mosquito, mosquito, mosquito. Turn it over. Yes, it is a mosquito. Now it's your turn to sound it out. Mosquito, mosquito, mosquito. Hands back in the lap. Mid-term, after engaging in 3 minutes of developing the vocabulary, but hearing and saying those large sound units 3-4 times a day. So we're talking about a 3-minute activity, 3 or 4 times a day throughout the day. Mid-term, it's time for screening and also to report on that skill development. So your Term 1 subtest will then go into the tracking sheet. Please note, mid-term we're not expecting 100% in the student scores. Some students inevitably will get that 80 or 100%, but a lot of students won't. Why I'm encouraging you to present the screening in week 6 is because it's a check. Just checking in that when you pull out those students individually and they're not operating in that large group, are their skills coming along? Because you've still got week 7, week 8, week 9, week 10 to target students now that you've identified them through the midterm screening. Whereas if we leave it to the end of the term and then you screen, well, your program's ready to move on and it's very hard to make adjustments. So your initial process in which the students are placed in alphabetical order is to place all their scores next to their names. And what will we find? There's a range in ability. Next, it's really important that we pull all the strong students to the bottom and all the weak students to the top of your spreadsheet, and we cluster them. So we've got the students that are already demonstrating the skill. They get 80 or 100%. The students that get 40 to 60% who need some small group attention, a little bit more of skill development. And then the students that are 0 to 20% and they need targeted teaching, they probably need language work, and we'll keep watching their development, but they also might need outside assessments. On the homepage, you will find access to tracking sheet support. It is a service PLD provides direct to principals, deputy principals, and literacy coordinators to help schools manage those tracking sheets. I wish you a great start to the new school year, and importantly, a term filled with rich, solid teaching and learning. Don't hesitate to contact the office should you require some support. If you found this information useful, don't forget to click the subscribe button and check out our related videos shown here. If you have any questions or feedback, please add them to the comments below and we'll be sure to respond. Otherwise, you can reach us via live chat on our website, pld-literacy.org. Thanks again for viewing.